Hi guys, this is Sam. Welcome back. This is the full fat version of the HTML and CSS box model. We're going to cover it because if you're doing the BTEC, you have to write about it. Okay, so let's see what you know or don't know. So, as I said, if you're doing the BTEC course, whichever one's about to finish, you have to write about the box model. Okay, and no doubt, when you had to answer that question, you went and done this. You went to Google, you typed in box model diagram. Oh look, hello Boris. Okay, and then we went to images, and you would have chosen any of these images. Probably one that looks a bit like that. But this guy called Nick. Nice one, Nick. Fair use. Sorry mate, can't see me. And then you would have written a bit about it. And the truth is, you may have written it right, you may not have written it right. Did you really understand it? Probably not, and this is why we're going to cover it now, so that you do know about it, you can write about it, and you can get that criteria. You can cross that off of things you need to do. And to do that, we're going to do it like we're going to do with most of our stuff, which is write some code and actually see it in action. How fantastic is that? Just like me, super. Okay, so we've got our learning folder set up on Visual Studio Code. And like I said, one way to do this, we're going to make a web page. It's going to be a really simple web page. It's going to involve a lot of writing, I know, I'm sorry. But the idea of it is we'll make this page once. You should then hopefully, if you're not quite sure, you can go back to this page and be able to get the information you need. If not, guess what? You can come back to this video, or you can even watch the skinny once I've even made that one as well. So let's first of all make our page and new file, and we're just going to call it box.html because I am just a wizard when it comes to inventive file names. As we can see, we get the box.html file, which is as full as my future, which is completely empty. Okay, so let's fill it in. Let's put in some HTML using Emmet again, drop down to 5. Boom, we got it. If you had watched my previous video on CSS and HTML, you know that an internal CSS file is fine if you're just doing a one-off or a demo page, and this meets that criteria. So we're just going to put in a style tag so we can work with it in a little bit. Wasn't that exciting? Okay, so next thing we're going to do is to create a bundle of little mini divs. Oops, come back. Little mini divs that we're going to be using to demonstrate this. We'll do these one by one. So we're going to do, again, we're going to use Emmet. Remember, it makes divs by default, so we just need to put in a class name, which we're going to do B1. I only use B because it reminds me of the word block. You can call it Alf, you can call it Fredo, you can call it West Brazilian Traffic Warden if you want. It really doesn't make any difference as long as you remember what you called it when we use the CSS on it. So B1, and click into it again just to lower it down so we can add some stuff. So first of all, overview, what exactly is the box model? So all visible HTML elements have the box model applied to it. Yes, you should be typing this too. Press BR here for the new line, and although I don't need to go on a new line, I do it because it looks pretty. The box model, I'll learn to spell in a minute. Has 4 parts. Colon and another BR for a new line because this is really exciting. And because we're going to be good boys and girls, we're going to use correct formatting. So we're going to make an unordered list. That's a UL there. And then each unordered list have list items. So our first list item is contents. And then our next list item is padding. And our next list item is the border, also known as the Donald Trump initiative. And finally we have the margin. Okay, and so we've got our closing URL and our closing div. So what we're going to do now is just quickly to save it, and we're going to see how beautiful this looks without any CSS on it. Again, I'm just going to use the live server, so I'm going to right click on box.html and select open with live server, and it will appear somewhere, and there it is. Okay, you can see it's quite well boring, but it's got the information that we need. And because I'm doing this on a live server, again, I'm just going to split my screen up, so I've got the web page on one side of my screen and the code on the other. You know, there's nice ways of doing that, sort of Windows and right. Whoops, I'll make sure I'm on the right screen while I'm doing that. And now I'm just going to get this to match it. I didn't see want to be in the right place. And now if I'm a clever boy, I can now move this over and that will follow. Brilliant. And just maximize the area. Okay, so now I've got that there, I'm all happy. So basically the stuff we've just written is in fact the contents. Okay, when we talk about the box model, we're really talking about you know, what the actual element, in this case the outer element, is the div. Okay, and it's how does the browser deal with this div element. But it's actually not just that, because the UL, okay, for the unordered list is also an element, so that gets the box model applied to it. And these list items in the inside are also HTML elements, so they have the box model applied to them as well. So in fact you can have a box model inside a box model inside a box model. Sounds like a idea for a film. Might call that Inception, who knows. Right, okay, so the next thing we're going to do is to do another one. But yes, we'll do another one and then we'll actually format them so they look a bit nicer. So again, using emmet div r by default, so we'll do a B2 because, you know, maths and everything. So we're right, the content sits in the middle. It's not Malcolm this time, it's the content. Okay, it is the text that you are reading right now. Now, it could be an image, could be a tree. No, don't put that in. A video, or anything. New line. It has many properties, but mainly width and height. Why do I keep going with my H's? Who knows? Width and height values are controlled. And another new line. We like our new lines. You can also control 1L, its position, and many other attributes, which I probably spelled wrongly. Sue me. Don't sue me. I've got no money. And many other attributes. Okay, and again in a closing div. Right, so let's just save that, and boom, look at that, sits underneath it. Right, let's see if we can make these look a bit prettier. So because these are both divs, we can create a rule that controls all of our divs. Okay, so that is the element rule, so div, and then we're gonna do something called floating, okay, to the left. I haven't explained floats yet. I will do later on. Essentially, it just stops it from being a block element. Okay. Remember when we did the other video with the different CSS, we had them as divs and they were taking up the entire line. Okay, that's because it's a block element. An inline block element allows things to sit next to them, and we'll see that work in a moment. We're going to give them a margin of 0, not O, 0, and a padding of 0. And these will be explained, fun enough, later on in this video. And we're going to give them a basic border, okay, of, what should we give the border? 2 pixels, solid, and the color of my soul, black. We should also give them a width, and let's give them a width of 300 pixels, see how that looks in a moment, and a height of 200 pixels. Because, you know, don't want to be square. And we save that, Control S, and look at that, amazing. They all change, and all the text fits in nicely. That's good enough for me. If you don't like it, I don't care. But it does tell us exactly what we want. All visual HTML elements have a box model applied to them. And so we're actually looking at the box model in action here, okay? Let's say the content sits in the middle. This is this bit here. The reason why we've got spaces below is because the width and the height is a big enough values that it all fits in. But imagine this whole center section here as being the content area. Nice and simple. Okay, so that's what the content is. Now we've added a border already, and this is the black thing we can see on the outside. And if we notice the text here, oh, I can't spell the word you. The text area, oh sorry, the text is buttoned right up against the border. Okay, there's nothing stopping it. If only we could do something to stop that. Maybe that's what the padding does. Let's have a look. Okay, so let's create the another div. Okay, and I don't mean me this time, but a B3 div, because, you know, maths. And I know we've got to type again. The padding acts as a separator between the content, if you can spell it correctly, and the border, and a new line. Don't say new line, don't type new line, just put in that BR thing. All right. This div has padding assigned to it. All right, it doesn't just yet, but it will do. Just like relax, man, just chill. Each side has a different value. Good old BR. Top colon 20. What have I got? 20 right. Colon 10. Bottom colon 40. And left is 30 pixels. I'm going to put a new line because I like it. Okay, so we can see that the overall space of the div has been increased. I know you can't just yet. Just wait. It'll happen. So it's been increased to accommodate the padding that has now been added. BR! that padding also takes on the same colour as the elements background colour. And look at that, see, I'm spelling it the English way because I'm a rebel and everything. Padding is very useful to make sure the text isn't sat on the border. Do you believe I said something like that a bit earlier? Who would have thought? Let's Control S and save that. It's gone down there. Now, just so you know, the reason, oh dear, I've run out of space as well. The reason why this has gone down here is because my page is not the full width of the browser. And so when it's trying to put this little divvy up here, it's gone, I've got no space. And therefore, it's gone down onto the next, I've got hiccups, my apologies. Therefore, it's gone onto the next line, which is here. Okay, and this is one of the things that the float left does, which is really quite cool. But we can see there's just, all that I can't spell is, I can't see, what's that, is that Spanish? So let's make these a little bit wider to accommodate the text. So let's go back into div, set width at 350 because I said so. Oh, still not enough. Disgraceful. Okay, you give me no choice but to add 50 to the height as well. There we go. Okay, however, we've now got to add the CSS for our B3 so we can see it. So we're going to go .b3 because it's a class, and we won't be live, so we're going to do padding top 20 pixels. We're going to do padding right at 10 pixels. We are, oh, why is that there? Go away. Padding right, we've got to do bottom, padding bottom, which is 40 pixels, and padding left, which I've chosen a really weird colour. It's like a salmon. It's E08D8D. I'll save that. That's padding left. I'm an idiot. Sorry, I'm not an idiot. You are. No, I am. Right, let me, how did that happen? Okay, let's just do background colour. There we go, and padding left was going to be 30 pixels. Now we'll save that. There we go. You can see how now this one's bigger, and if I actually just maximize this, you can actually see now how much bigger this truly is compared to the others. All right, there's a massive amount of additional space. It's a padding, and the widths are also different as well. Okay, the actual area given to the content is the same. That content has not changed its dimensions. Only the padding that's been added around the outside of it that's caused that to happen. So let's just get back over there. Okay, so that's the padding. Okay, so I've gone top, right, bottom, left in that order because really that's the order you need to get used to doing it. Why? Well, because there are different ways of writing these values. Same goes for things like the margin as well. And so what we'll do is in the next element that we'll make is I'll show you how to do it in another way as well. Okay, but you know, if you're going to do them all separate, because all different values, you can do it that way, or you can do it the shorthand way that we're going to see in a moment. But before we can do that one, we've got to do a little bit more writing. I know life is so hard. Okay, so we're going to go .b4. Okay, to make a B4 class. This one hasn't got that much text, you'll be glad to know. Okay, so next we have the border. The border. Okay, that's obviously border in another language. Okay, next we have the border. It has three main properties. We have the border width, its color, and its style. In this div, the border is 8 pixels wide, using, I should put in, sort out your grammar boy, 8 pixels wide, using the dash style, and is the color FF4444, which is a off red in hex. Okay, if you're not quite sure what hex is or color codes, there's bound to be a video coming out on that at some point when I've got time, so please go ahead and have a look at it. Okay, so we have B4, let's save it. Yep, there he is. And again, you can see it's sticking out a bit more because of the padding, which of the previous one, which is what, right and left 30. So that's 40 pixels, that gap there. Okay, so let's put in the code for B4. So we go dot B4, and we said the border was 8 pixels. Okay, so this is the thickness, dashed is the style, and we'll have a look at the different styles in a moment, and hash for hexadecimal color, and we're using F8 FF4444, which actually I could just shorten down to F44. Again, see the video on colors if you want to understand that. Okay, and then I promised you another version of padding. Okay, so in this case you can if you want to do them top, right, bottom, left, you want them all separate, or even if you want them all the same, although this is a bit long if you want them all the same, which we're going to do, you can do 10, and you can actually just do top, right, bottom, and to make my point I'm going to make my left 30 pixels so it's larger, so you can actually see it working. And then we save that, and boom, you can see that we've got 10 at the top, 10 on the right. You can't see the bottom one really because we're not using all of the content area, but on the left it is 30 pixels. And if you don't believe me, well, I don't care. I do care, but I'm going to pretend I don't. Okay, so that is the border. Now the thing is, there are loads and loads and loads and loads of different borders. Okay, I'm just going to show you some of the different versions, and we're going to do it on B3, which is good old salmon here above, and then we'll take it off. So if we do border, okay, now notice you can, and again I will actually come to the next one because no, actually this is the border, this is the right one. So you can with the border still do different sides, so top, right, bottom, left, just like we've done with the padding. It's not often that we'd have different borders, okay, different borders on different sides. The time you might do that might be when you are making like a navigation bar and you're making little tabs and you want the bottom tab not to, oh, sorry, the bottom of your navigation not to have a border, so it looks like it's attached to the rest of the page or something like that. But generally speaking, all your borders are the same. Okay, what we're looking for here is border style. Okay, now you can see them all here. Okay, all the main ones, because you can now even use images as well. And in fact, you can also use gradients, but it's a bit too big for this particular video. Really, borders deserve their own video. But we've done dash, so let's just do dotted. We'll save that. Now it's a bit small, so let's just do border. Let's make it. Let's go 5 pixels. Okay. You see it disappear there because I didn't actually say. I think it should be border size. Border width. There you go. Border width. There you go. And a little brain fart there. So border width of 5 pixels. You can actually see the dots better. Okay. Let's get rid of dots. Let's put in. We've done dotted dash. Do double. Let's get the semicolon at the end. And there you go. You can see we've got 2 borders going around it. Sort of like one of those placky views. And you know, I'm not going to do these all. I'll do one more. You can go through these yourself. Groove, baby. Yeah. Let's see what the groove looks like. Yeah, it's not really that groovy, but there you go. All right. So there are different versions that you can use. I shall just delete that bit. Take it back for you. So there we have it. Oh, save it. Get rid of it. Now it's back to the normal border. Notice again that the background of the border, I think, will match that of the background. Let's have a look. Let's just change the background of B4. So background color. Let's go. I don't know why I like aqua. Let's just use aqua. Yep, you can see that the background from in between the dashes are the same color as the elements background. It's not of its parent. So finally, we move on to B5. So again, dot B5. And so finally, actually it's not going to be finally, you'll see why in a moment. Finally, we have the margin. This acts like the padding, but works on the outside. Ooh, exciting. Of the border. It defines the distance between this element and another. Save that viewer. Oh, it's come down there. Honestly, just not quite enough space over there. That's a shame. I'll maximise this in a moment. Okay, and now we are going to give this a margin. So let's go into B5 up here in our rule dot B5, and we're just going to give it if all of the sides are the same for margin. In fact, this is exactly what we do normally with the border. Okay, you can just write the value in once and it'll be applied to all 4 sides. So margin, we're going to make it at 20 pixels. Okay, and the padding, we will use that at 10 pixels. And then we'll save that, and you can see, even though it's at the bottom here, how it's moved away. So this distance here is 20 pixels between the bottom edge of that border and the top edge of that border, and it's also moved 20 pixels off to the side as well. Again, so when we maximize this, oh, that's a shame. Right, I want them sort of like all in the same area. In fact, what I'm going to do is to cheat just a little bit. Is I'm going to. You don't need to do this. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to move this to after B2. Okay, and save it, just so that we can actually see. There we go. How that margin is affecting in both in all 4 areas. Okay, so that's it at work. Now it's really messed up this one down here because of that spaces it occurs, or it creates. I'm just going to undo that. Control Z will do that for you. Okay, just save that. Now what I'm going to do is just show you a few extra things, a few minor bits. So let's do a next one, which is B6, because you know, maths. So when we use position absolute in our elements, the margin is ignored. At least I think it is. We'll soon find out in a moment. So this is an exception. So first of all, let's just save this, and we can see it's showing up on the right hand side here. Okay, it's showing up where we expect it to be. Get over there. Okay, well, it's now down here, but it doesn't matter. Now, we haven't talked about position absolutes yet. Again, there will be a video. Give me a chance, man. I've only just started. So B6 position absolute. Okay, and if I go for top and go for like 50 pixels, and left 50 pixels. Now when I do that straight away, what we'll see is that there it goes, it's right in between them all. Okay, and this is because when we use position absolute, it basically ignores anything else on the page and it sets itself on top of the others. Okay, there is something called Z index, which, yeah, you guessed, will be another video, but you can see how it sort of ignored a position. Now we've seen what adding a margin does, but when we do it in this one here, get back, where are you? It's this one here. Okay, so when we give it a all over margin of 40 pixels and we save it, we notice that it doesn't really do much. It's moved it, I think. Let's just check. Let's see that there. Okay, so when we do that and we save it, yeah, so the margin value when we're in position absolute will still move this element relative to where we said it's going to be, but it doesn't have an effect on the other elements. You see, when we move this up here, it pushed the other elements away, but when you do in position absolute, they're just ignored. Okay, and that is really the end of this video. You could obviously try some different properties on these elements and see how they react, but essentially that is what it is. We have the content in the middle, padding moves the border away from it, and then the margin separates it across. As you can see, the margin value does not work when it is using position absolute. So this is Zen signing off. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, or if you don't like it, then thumbs down it, you know, do all that jazzy stuff. But do subscribe, do tell people. I need the views. I'm lonely in this room. Please help me. And I'll see you guys on the next video.